Who wants another way to take care of shields? Greetings audience, I'm Boomstick, and today we're going to be looking at a kit for the Reflex 6 by Radioactive Designs. In this Reflex 6, I've replaced the cylinder, the rotator, as well as added a spring spacer, all designed by Radioactive Designs. If you visit his Etsy shop, which I'll have linked down below in the description, you can find both the STLs as well as physical copies that you can buy. He will print and send to you. The printing is extremely straightforward. You got the cylinder, the rotator, and the spacer. Both the cylinder and the spacer don't require supports, whereas the rotator, I kind of recommend using supports just to kind of get a better finish and make sure none of the overhangs are messy. Assembly is also straightforward for both slapping in the cylinder and the spacer. Although I will say this is not the only Reflex 6 cylinder that I'm currently working on. I'm hoping to have more in the future because he's designed a lot. However, I have been having issues with the rotators, so you might want to make sure that you're getting a really good quality rotator out of it because other cylinders I built don't like to work as well, and I think it's due to my own tolerances and printing the way I'm doing it. So you might have to go through with a sander or something, or you can just buy it from Radioactive Designs directly, so that is an option. I will say, as somebody who hasn't used a Reflex 6 before, I do really like this blaster. I find it to be rather comfortable. It fits my hand pretty well. The prime is very light because I am using the stock spring with the spring spacer. There is no upgraded spring in here, it's just the stock spring. So we'll come back to that once we get to performance. Speaking of, I changed up my firing demo again, so let me know what you think. And let's go outside, shall we? The performance on the stock spring is nothing fantastic. I'm getting around 50 feet firing the blaster normally, and I'm getting around 55 to 60 feet with angled shots. As you'll notice during the firing, I have one dart that does not like the cylinder. I made the mistake of not grabbing extra mega darts, so I was stuck with it, and it really messed up my aim. The choice of darts really becomes obvious when firing over the chronograph. I had shots as low as mid-30s and as high as mid-60s, all depending on the fit of the dart. Although, most shots did hit around 55 FPS. Now for my final thoughts on the Reflex 6, which I will start by saying it gets okay performance. However, I will add an asterisk to that to where it is a very small size. Now, it's not as powerful as, say, a Mistress Key or a Little Rocket or any of its iterations. This is a repeating mega firing blaster, which is much smaller than, say, the Cyclone Shock, which would be the thing it's probably most relatable to. It's a much more compact size, and I am using the stock spring. Now, in talking to Radioactive Designs, he did say that Mongoose Jake was able to get 90 FPS with the Mega Cylinder by upgrading the spring. So I might look into that into the future, but as of right now, it's a good close quarters Mega Blaster, I would say. You're obviously not going to be sniping with this. It's no Mega Burn, obviously. But it's pretty compact for having 5 shots. Like I said, the only thing comparable to that I can think of would be like the Cyclone Shock, which, again, weaker, but way smaller. I can actually holster this in my go-to holsters that I use for everything. This fits. I could carry this into battle with me in my holster and just pull it out and fire it when I need it. So, am I making excuses for its performance? Yes, but it's one of those things that you'll have to consider when picking one of these up or printing out yourself. But now I will also say that for me personally, I tend to forget I'm carrying a sidearm. The times that I've used sidearms is quite rare. The only time that I've really used the sidearm rather well was when I was running my FTEC and my FDL Basic, and that was just because I was switching from a Springer sniper-ish primary to a full auto flywheel primary. So that's more of my playstyle. So while I have a feeling I won't remember this is on me, for my playstyle, it could be useful for somebody who does like to carry a sidearm with them, especially if you're going to HVZ or you're dealing with shields or other specialty classes. Having it there is useful. The other way that this is useful is because it's so small and you can just carry it on you. If somebody's dealing with a specialty problem like shields or zombies or whatever, you can just go, here, take this. Which I do think is a useful perk. So yes, I am harping on its size and not necessarily its performance. Which, as I've already stated, can be improved. 90 FPS Mega Blaster is a pretty good sidearm. But I mostly just want to talk about what happens when you take these files and slap them into a stock Reflex. And honestly, I think it's good. So if you guys have any thoughts about the Reflex 6 Mega Cylinder, definitely let me know. I do at least recommend that you check out Radioactive Designs if this cylinder's not to your taste. He has a whole slew of cylinders, so if this one's not to your liking, I'm sure he's got one that you will. I also want to take a moment and thank all my lovely patrons over here. And if you'd like to help support the channel, you can go and check out my Patreon, to where I've got a couple of different neat little benefits if you want to check those out. Again, links down below in the description. And if you don't want to do that, well, you can also help the video out by liking, commenting, and subscribing, and maybe even hitting that bell. Again, thank you all for watching. I've been Boomstick, and I'm out.